We're still debating on priorities for features and things that we want to do first. Obviously, we have massive time constraints and an infinite backlog, so you do need to make sure you're working on the most important features. And what we do is we obviously discuss, argue, fight over, no, we should do this or we should do that. Loads of customers are asking this and asking that. We try to come to the meeting with as much data as we can to back up our arguments. Hi, I'm Andrew Salvadore, CTO of CoinRule.com.
This is Code Story, the podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries who share in the critical moments of what it takes to change an industry and build and lead a team that has your back. I'm your host, Noah Laphart, and today how Andrew Salvadore created an automated way for you to trade crypto without any coding. All this and more on Code Story. Andrew Salvadore is a father of 2 young boys, and when he is not working, they fill up his schedule. He and his boys live half an hour from the forest, so they spend lots of time there, swimming and jumping in muddy puddles when possible. He enjoys sports, nutrition, and personal optimization. Though he tends to lean towards reading about self-improvement, he has drifted into educating himself on startups, crypto, and trading, which is important for his current venture. Andrew's founders began to realize the impact of the fact that the crypto market is a 24/7 market. And most days, they would wake up in the morning and wish they wouldn't have been asleep when crypto events occurred. They wanted to build something to do it for them, and Andrew was recruited to move the company and the product forward. This is the creation story of CoinRule.
CoinRule is a platform that allows you to define automation rules for trading, specifically trading cryptocurrencies. You can think of it a bit like Zapier, where you say, if it's going to be raining tomorrow, send me an email, 7 a.m., grab the umbrella. You can do something similar, but with coins. So you can say, if the price of Bitcoin goes below 40K, then buy me $50 with this account and so on. But you can also build very complex rules with, over time we added more and more sort of conditions and actions and things that you can do based on technical indicators or relations between coins. So fundamentally it allows you to automate your trading. Crypto being 24/7 is not like stocks. If you have a day job, it's really like you need to be on top of it. And CoinRule allows you to do that in a smarter way. I joined the company in kind of phase 2, which is trying to scale the team. The idea came to Gabriel, which is our CEO. He saw that most of the things that were happening at nighttime were like opportunities for a trade that he felt like, oh, I missed out on this, or I missed out on that. It's like things happen so fast. It's really hard to manage it. So he came up with this idea, and then he met the other founder, Oleg, and they started talking about this. Both of them were in a transition. And then they found the tech co-founder, which is Danny. It started with a very simple rule, like if price go down, then buy this amount. An MVP of a month, and all 3 of them locked themselves into a room and they hacked the thing together. And, they put in front of some early customers and they got some really good feedback. From there, they essentially took it over a number of iterations and the product grew.
Either a little bit of that backstory, or let's start where you joined. Tell me about the MVP, or tell me about that first version of the product that you took over, how long it took you to recreate it or improve it, or where you want to take that story. But tell me about that MVP.
So when I joined the company, there were a number of things I wanted to focus on. One of that was the productivity of the team. Being a very small team, I wanted to make sure we were as productive as possible. And I focused on iterations, specifically with like releases and pipelines and getting the code out as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. So when I joined the company, essentially doing a release would take 4 hours for one of the components because of the way it was architected, the way it was designed. Even before joining, actually, I was still working for my previous company. I started working on a Kubernetes cluster to Dockerize the whole environment and run it on top of Kubernetes. I had some previous experience doing that. My kind of MVP with CoinRule was more about the technology than the product to really help them. Now we do releases, I don't know how many times per day, and most of those take about 30 seconds. We're just replacing an image with another, no downtime, roll it out. We still have some kind of legacy components in terms of the way we roll out the applications to production and roll back, because obviously you can imagine if there is a problem rolling back, taking 4 hours is going to get a lot of angry customers. So it was more about that. It was more about the tech stack and focusing on the kind of CDCI aspect.
This episode is sponsored by Vanta. You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. And obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors. But they take time and energy pulling you away from building and shipping. And that's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups like yours get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. How, you ask? Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. And the platform connects you with trusted vCISOs to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. Join over 8,000 companies, including many Y Combinator and Techstars startups who trust Vanta. Simplify compliance and get $1,000 off at vanta.com/codestory. That's VANTA.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Kinsta. Between juggling client meetings, managing your website, and keeping up with everyday tasks, who has the time to stress out about website security? Well, with Kinsta, the technical stuff is taken care of, so you can focus on what you do best. Kinsta provides managed hosting for WordPress, offering lightning-fast load times, top-tier security, and unmatched human-only customer support. Whether you're a business owner, web developer, or running a digital agency, Kinsta makes managing your website easy and efficient. Kinsta provides enterprise-grade security, being one of the few hosting providers for WordPress with SOC 2 and other certifications, guaranteeing the highest level of security for your website. Thanks to their unlimited free expert-led migrations, Kinsta ensures a smooth transition for you from other hosting providers. Customers have reported 200% faster load times post-migration to their platform. What I find cool about Kinsta is their fast and reliable customer service and premium features that are included at no extra cost. Ready to experience Kinsta's hosting for yourself? Get your first month free when you sign up at kinsta.com today. That's KINSTA.com. So then from that point, how did you progress and mature the product? How did you grow it? And I think what I'm interested in is how you built your roadmap, how you decided or how you went about deciding this is the next most important thing to build.
We're still debating on priorities for features and things that we want to do first. Obviously, we have massive time constraints and an infinite backlog, so you do need to make sure you're working on the most important features. What we do, we're a fully remote company, and every 3 months we get together physically in the same place and we talk about a quarterly roadmap. So the quarterly roadmap is we kind of get in a room, we talk about the pillars that define the customer experience and also the ones that we want to bring in the future. And what we do is we obviously discuss, argue, fight over, no, we should do this or we should do that. Loads of customers are asking this and asking that. We try to come to the meeting with as much data as we can to back up our our arguments. There are many things that mostly Gab and Oleg take kind of from there into further validation. We do quite a bit of validation before starting to work on something. For example, by talking to customers or looking at what's on the market, but also looking at where we want to take the company next. Talking to a lot of investors, they come from different backgrounds. Some of them are from trading, and they give us a lot of really valuable input. And then, so from this, we kind of build a high level roadmap that then we start prioritizing and breaking down into smaller pieces. One of the things that I brought to the company as well was the concept of iteration, starting with something small and trying to get it out as soon as possible. I keep telling my team, it's not about ideas, it's really about the executions. If you work on something for 3 months without getting anything out, it's pretty much useless. You probably wasted, 2/3, if not more of that time. Because even if it's something behind feature switches, it's still really fundamental to get that out into the main branch and released in production.
You have to break it down into smaller chunks to be able to consume it in a measurable, reasonable amount of time and remain agile. Well, let's switch to team. So how did you go about building your team? And what do you look for in those people to indicate that they are the winning horses to join you?
So hiring is, I think everyone will agree, hiring is one of the most difficult aspects of any company, no matter the size. I think it's critical to hire the right people. When you work for a bigger company, maybe the impact of a single individual is probably kind of amortized across the team. But when you have a small team, it's really, really important to get the right people. And it becomes more important because it'll be, instead of being 1/100th of a team, is 1/5 or 1/10. So we obviously hire people through, the normal channels. We advertise our jobs. We brought some people, ex-colleagues and people that we already know, but that has limits. We also started outsourcing. We got some people from nearshore and offshore companies that work with us. But to be honest, in terms of quality and caliber, there is nothing better than referrals. If you have good engineers in your team and you work hard to build a great functioning team, a team where people feel fulfilled, they feel like they're empowered to do their job, they have everything they need to grow, and they can make those decisions, then it's very easy to get people referred, and it's very easy to build a team nearly of friends.
Well, let's flip to scalability. And given, there's blockchain elements, there's, obviously crypto elements, it'll be interesting to see where you take the conversation. But did you build this to scale efficiently, or was this built to scale efficiently from day one? Or are you fighting this as you grow?
We haven't built this to scale from day one. We're having a scaling issue all the time. Every single sprint, we do some work to improve the way we scale and to improve architecturally the way things kind of hang together so that can be scaled further. To give you an example, when you define some rules in the product, they get executed in like what we call the rule engine. And the rule engine is made of a number of workers. The way we essentially source the workers, so you can imagine this as a big queue where workers pick up the work out of the queue, they execute something, and then they update some stats, some databases, they do some trades, they sell some coins, they buy some coins, and so on. This sprint, we're working on improving that further, and probably going to work for the next few months, I'd say, on this approach to make sure it works for different customers, because we have different customers. We want to try and offer different SLAs. So like your rules will be executed within X seconds. it's just one aspect of some of the scalability issues that we never thought about at the beginning. But as we want as a business to offer different plans and different SLAs, we cannot really be bound to physical machines so badly. So we're kind of moving this away from physical machines into containers, but that brings us to new challenges that we're trying to address in the next few months. You don't want to over-engineer, right? You can't start designing for scale when you don't even have a product market fit. When you get to that point, you always regret not doing it.
Well, as you step out on the balcony and you look across all you've built, what are you most proud of?
A number of things, right? I think from a product perspective, the way we handle payments and user subscriptions has improved a lot. So I'm quite proud of that work, because with that, I took a chance to do a number of improvements in the way the backend talks with the front end and so on. So I'm quite proud of that. From a product perspective, it's a much better experience. From a team perspective, I'm also quite happy with the team we have at the moment. I think we managed to hire a bunch of really, really good people, and we can really take the product to the next level. I would say overall, it's also, I guess, the process that I brought to CoinRule that I'm proud of. How we even do sprint planning, how we think about delivering something. And that concept I introduced before about slicing something, making sure that it's small, digestible. Even though you have the end in mind, you need to think about iterations and how you get there. I'm quite proud of that aspect.
Well, let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
Where do I start on that? We've made some mistakes in hiring the wrong person or hiring someone that wasn't a fit. You're talking about people. No matter how delicate you want to be, it's hard. We try to get a few different data points. We do the usual kind of tests, but sometimes you're missing things. Other things more from I guess from a kind of tech, more specific tech. We worked on a version of the rule engine for quite some time. When I joined the company, the project was ongoing, and obviously, it wasn't something that you join the company and you just start killing projects. That effort was really going nowhere. It was one of those that has been in the pipeline for 6 months. It hasn't been released yet. We want to do the best possible work. We're aiming for 100% test coverage and all those things that are great on paper, but until you put it out there, you have no idea what's happening. You literally have no idea what's happening. But that is also something that really resonated with my experience and my philosophy to make sure you break down things, and nothing is accepted until it's in production.
So what does the future look like for CoinRule, the product, and for your team?
It's exciting, man. I'm actually really excited about the future. We have some really interesting features that we want to work on. We want to make it a little bit more social. There's going to be an upcoming offsite where we'll discuss some of this in further detail. I guess it's a new experiment. We want to try and bring more collaboration between our users. It's interesting. We have some groups on Telegram. They're very active. People are very engaged with the product. They log in multiple times a day. We want to see if there is a way for people to help each other. Apart from that, we also are working on new integrations, so additional exchanges. But we're also looking at long-term to make CoinRule a platform that you can integrate with in an easier way. So, think about some high-level API that you can say, okay, I want to, when something happens, like the price of some asset goes up or goes down, I want an email sent to my inbox, or I want to tweet. So we're thinking about integrations not just with exchanges, but also with other third parties. Mostly, obviously, in the something related to trading, but not necessarily. There are some really interesting ideas as well for integrations. With that, probably another one that is really exciting is DeFi, so decentralized finance, and moving away from actual exchanges into DeFi is going to be a major direction in the future, something that will grow massively. I would say there is the ambition in CoinRule to become a platform that allows you to think about assets, not crypto, not stocks. Any kind of digital asset should be tradable with some rules. That is the kind of ambition, and you can think how complex that would be, obviously.
Well, Andrew, let's switch to you. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person you look up to and why.
If you were to ask me this question 2 years ago, I would probably have said someone else than I would say now. And I kind of keep changing based on the work I do and based on where I am in my life. In my previous role, I was managing a lot of people, and I was, for example, quite inspired by Bill Campbell and, the book, The Trillion Dollar Coach. It's very inspiring, both from a kind of people management perspective and from a tech leader perspective. More recently, I guess, again, because of my job, I had the opportunity to meet Brian Helming, which is the co-founder and CTO of Zapier, and I was quite inspired by him. I really like, his style and his approach, and I think there's a lot of similarities between Zapier and CoinRule.com, as I was saying. Someone else, Gustav, I can't remember his surname, is the CTO of Spotify. I also, was quite inspired by some of his blog posts and his approach to knowledge management, for example, and thinking about complex problems. These are probably the ones that I think mostly about.
Well, we talked about a mistake earlier, but a little bit different spin. If you could go back to the beginning, what would you do differently, or where would you consider taking a different approach?
We spoke about hiring and some of the things we were not doing at the beginning. Yeah, that would definitely be one thing. Knowing what I know now, I'll probably approach also some conversations with the founders in a slightly different way. Whenever you come from another job, you bring with you some baggage, and that influences the way you talk to people. Maybe I should have spent a bit more time trying to know them before trying to influence them, or before trying to convince them that doing something is correct. I think, that's in general true for everything. I think normally founders are people with very strong personalities that went through a lot, and they have quite a bit of history, sometimes together if you join an existing company. And trying to understand the context is definitely helpful to be as effective as possible.
Well, last question, Andrew. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
I would say get this in front of as many people as you can, as quickly as possible. Get feedback. I'm not saying trust 100% the feedback that you get, because many people don't know what they want. But yeah, without that kind of validation, product is useless, right? I think once you find the product market fit, and you can pivot, you can change, keep adjusting, but ultimately it's all about talking to customer, getting feedback from them.
That's fantastic advice. Well, Andrew, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for telling your creation story of CoinRule.
Thank you very much. No, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for inviting.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Laphart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. Support the show on patreon.com/codestory for just $5 to $10 a month. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
Now Taxes is 100% free when you file in the TurboTax app if you didn't file with us last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just do your own taxes in the app by 2/18.
What if I have lots of forms?
All good, all 100% free.
What if I had 3 jobs?
Still 100% free.
What if I once saw Bigfoot?
That has nothing to do with taxes, so still 100% free.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now this is Taxes. See if you qualify in the TurboTax app. Excludes TurboTax Live, must start and file in app by 2/18.